So now, while I'm getting things together, I'm gonna be doing this kind of simultaneously. I'm doing this simultaneously on two different platforms, and I think this is necessary because I can't have all my eggs in one basket. Now, to those people that came in before, this is kind of a retake of what we did last week. When I originally did this podcast, something happened. Facebook messed up my dubbing, and I couldn't record it. So here I am giving you the best that I can. It's the first time I did a repost or a retake, and we're gonna do this up. We're gonna do it right. I might not have everybody in here, but I'm gonna do it just like everybody was there. And if you tune in right now, if you catch me while I'm on the camera, I'm live, and I want you to know that I'm here and I'm there. I'm like Cell Warfare. I'm everywhere. So let's do it like this. Yeah, people. This is my maiden voice. I'm doing this live on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. And I'm doing so. And if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, let me know that you can see what you see and hear what you hear. Because I'm doing it just like this here. Don't do it. I figured I'd give a couple people a chance to get in here. You're going to see this simultaneously. If you're following me on YouTube, you're going to see this live on YouTube as well. You're going to see it live on Facebook, and you're going to see it live on YouTube. So here I am. I'm going to do it just like this here. Told you I'm about to blow up like an atomic bomb in 1941, 45. What? Folks, it feels good when you do something, when you plan on do something, and you see the plan come to fruition. It's the best feeling in the world. This is something I think is going to be for everybody, not just me. Though I'm the one up here, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing it for our kids, our grandkids. And people always talking about what you do. I went out this morning. I voted. So I don't just talk about it, I'm about it. I be about it. I try to walk the walk as I talk the talk. So sit back and let me express myself. Like I said, this is kind of a retake because last Thursday program, for whatever reason, and I've been saying this time and time again, every week I do this with Facebook, I run into some type of technical difficulty. So I decided I wanted to make sure that this is on YouTube. So I'm streaming live from YouTube as I am streaming live from Facebook. Here I am, two places one time. So I'm gonna do this just like I did this last week, and hopefully it'll be better. If you came in last week, I got some feedback from you, so it ain't gonna be the same soup. I added a little seasoning, a little fresh seasoning. You know what I mean? So here we go. Like I said, this show is about two things. I just went out and I voted, and I'm doing what I talk about. I'm in my blue because I voted blue, and that's a subliminal message, to myself. And to be honest with you, I didn't realize that I had on blue. It just happened that way. So both times I went to vote, subconsciously I was wearing blue. Go figure. Folks, I've been talking to people since this has happened. And what I've been talking about is we got to get over ourselves. You know, some of us wanted this person, we wanted that person. Some people wanted Susan Rice, some people wanted Warren, some people wanted this, some people wanted that. We got to get over ourselves. Right now, the strategy, the main thing that we're trying to do is get this knucklehead out of there so that we can get our country back. In addition to that, and here's one of the new pieces. I went out and I voted this morning. We only need 4 seats. We only need four. I'm gonna say we need 5 seats to take back the Senate and get rid of Mitch McConnell behind. There's a girl in Kentucky who's challenging him, so I think we can make it happen. On top of that, today was the last day for early voting here in Brevard County in Florida, and me and shout out to Andrea Paulette. Um, she and I had a conversation this morning. This young lady is real smart, and she says she feels like I pick on her, but I do that because I see certain people. Throughout my career, I evaluated other people, and it's not judging; it's just evaluating. I see people's strengths and weaknesses, and I try to help them to develop their strengths and build on their weaknesses. So that's what the deal is. With all of that being said, she and I had this impromptu conversation about who was on the ballot and who we were looking at, and we compared information. And I encourage you to do the same thing. On this ballot for us, it's just about circuit court judges. And listen to what I said, it's just about. It's not never just about, because these judges are the people who are going to literally judge you whether you go into the court for a traffic ticket or if you have the misfortune of having to defend yourself, stand your ground or whatever. So from one end of the spectrum to the opposite end, all of this is about, after all of this, Joe has finally made his pick. So some of this is recapping what I did last week. He picked Kamala, whether it's Kamala or Kamala or Camilla, whatever, he picked Miss Harris. I have some problems with her, but I'm gonna deal with those problems. The strategy here again is to get rid of Trump. So this podcast was titled "The Lesser of Two Evils and Making Lemonade." As we went over the information this morning, as Paulette and I went over the information this morning, what we found out is in politics, you're always picking the lesser of two evils, and I think you just have to, as corny as it sounds, deal with the hand that you dealt. So let's move on into this. Let's get into that. I'm gonna try to make this quick this morning. Here's the truth. My analogy is simple. When you have to pick from the lesser of two evils, it's like making lemonade from lemons. So right now, we've got three lemonade recipes to deal with. Number one is vote blue and take down Trump. Whoever's blue, you vote for them, and that would be Joe and Camilla. Number two is vote third party. You're making a political statement, but in my humble opinion, you're wasting your vote. If there's two horses in a race, why are you gonna vote for a horse that's not even getting out of the gate? That's like buying a lottery ticket from last week. There's no way you're going to win. So I can't stress that enough, but I'm not going to beat the dead horse. Let me move on. Number three is simple as this: you don't vote at all. If you don't vote at all, I said this last week and I'm gonna say it again. The kids are crew. This X generation, the next generation, however we define them, they're a little less about the bullshit, to be honest with you. And they say something as simple as, if you ain't gonna do right, just kill yourself, because you're taking up space for people that want to do something. So if you're not voting, in my humble opinion, you don't have a voice. Don't complain about not getting the stimulus check. Don't complain about, taxes, or don't complain about shit, because you don't have a voice as far as I'm concerned. You gave up your voice. This election, Trump was hired, elected, or whatever in 2016, and he stands a chance. So he ended up the 2020 to 2019 decade, and he started off the 2020 decade. And I say that simply because we can't let this man. Already in the past 8 months, we have seen things that we've never seen before. I'm 60 years old and I've never seen anything like this. I lived through the turbulent 60s I grew up in. I saw JFK, MLK, RFK. I saw Malcolm. I saw all of these political assassinations of people who were trying to do good. I saw Ali become champion, be dethroned, and I saw this whole fight for civil rights. To that effect, I started a company, and I keep talking about this. And part of every step that I take is a strategic step towards a specific goal. And it's about something for all of us, making sure that we have a voice to make the right choices. We have the information to make a informed choice. So forget what the talking heads, the political analysts, and all of these posters say. This election is not going to be as much of a runway as they say. They say Biden is leading by 10 points and blah, 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 blah. I personally don't believe that to be true. So let's behave like we are as desperate as we really are. Right now, we are all desperate because we want this idiot to be gone with a quick. And if he's not, then it's nobody's fault but our own. So don't take for granted that you live in a state that's progressively blue, so you're going to make a statement by voting for a horse that's not even in the race. Dead horse not going to beat it. It's a mood statement. You're just wasting your vote. To those people that decide to vote blue no matter what, I understand your desperation and I'm kind of there with you, but I go a step further. I have some problems with Camilla, and I call her lemonade is either sugary sweet or it's NutraSweet. You understand? People either love her or they hate her. It leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, hence the NutraSweet. Um, but I knew this. I told you about this when her name was first tossed into the ring because she checks off so many boxes. She's black. She's a immigrant. Um, She's Indian American. She's female. She comes from an HBCU. She's an AKA. So you got the sororities and the Greeks in there and all of that. So, and on top of all of that, she's not black. She's not Val Demings black. She's not wearing dreadlocks like Stacey Adams, Abrams black. So she's a safe choice. On top of that, one of the things that make it safe for them and make it bad for me is her record as both a prosecutor, a district attorney, and an eventual attorney general in the state of California. And I said this once before. I said she put more people in jail than Mike Bloomberg did in New York. So I've got some people that come at me for what I said, but I'm gonna say what I need to say, and I'm not gonna back off from it. I've never ran from a fight, and I damn sure ain't picked a day to start running. So it is what it is. I know she has the potential to do some things, and I'm saying this just like I said to Paulette this morning. I'm hard on certain people because I expect more of them. And it sounds cliquish, it sounds like a cliche, but it's real. If you're in here and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then I'm gonna be on your behind. That's what accountability is. That's what oversight is. And I think that's our job. Once we put someone in office, it's our job to make sure that they are doing what we elected them to do. Once we put someone in office, it's our job to make sure that they're doing what we elected them to do. Okay. So as she go in there, I said this: blacks I wish we were more like the Jews. You know, when it comes to being black, they're always saying, get over it, get over it. I heard a comedian say, when it comes to black issues, they always want us to get over it, be it 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years, or whatever. When it comes to something like 9/11, they say never forget. The Jews feel the same way about the Holocaust. So why can't we hold on to things that's near and dear our heart when it comes to Black Lives Mattering? And why should that even be open to debate? So the problem with that is Black folks are too emotional, too forgiving, and too quick to claim kinship with anything with melanin in skin, be it Tiger Woods or Kamala Harris. Black folks want to vicariously live through their lives, their exploits, and their successes. Black women, especially, they want to claim a sisterhood. They act like it's dead daughters, or it's them that went to Howard and played the AKA and married a white man and became the AG and is now the junior senator from the state of California and a vice president nominee on a Democratic ticket. And I'm saying all of that is irrelevant because this person has their own constitution. They have their own more morality that they respond to, and it's based on their life experiences and what have you. And with someone coming from that kind of background, they don't know what they identify with most. So that's my problem. That's the reason why I'm so hard on Camilla. Because if you were AG, if you were Attorney General or top cop for the state of California, I hold you responsible for not going after the dirty cops. I hold you responsible for taking an easy way out to further your own career and taking advantage or exploiting those people who didn't have resources or money to get the type of representation that was due them, that was promised to them by a blind statue of justice. So the scales are never balanced. And that's what we expect of our elected officials to make sure that the have nots are treated the same as the haves. Moving on. Other thing I've been saying is white women is the wild card. When this thing started up, and Black Lives Matter came to its peak, there was a thrust to put a Black female on the ticket. And I knew that some white women would behave and feel the same way they felt in 2016. Now, Hillary Clinton was a very polarizing person. She People seemed to hate her as much as they loved her. So there was no middle ground with her. Silently, a lot of white women either stayed home or voted against Hillary by voting for Trump. So it's not that they were voting for Trump, they were just voting against Hillary. See some of those same things happening with Kamala, but she's safer to white women. So this was a way of appeasing them, if you will, by bringing her on the ticket. Um, in today's climate, I would have liked to see Susan Rice because of everything that she did during the Obama administration and this tenuous relationship she has with her own son. So I think that's this to stand up and fight despite those struggles at home shows intestinal fortitude. One thing I could not see happening with the amount of hate during 45's administration is a dreadlock Stacey Abrams being put on a ticket. I just know that that would have been uh, dead in the water. I knew it wasn't going to happen. And I think she's probably, if not the most talented, one of the most talented of those people that were being considered. So, do I agree with Biden's ticket? No, but I understand it. All along, I've been saying that Biden is the person, the answer to Trump and the person that could dethrone him. Someone, maybe a Republican agitator, planted the seed for a woman to be on the ticket. I said we needed the best person because Joe is a one-term president. We needed someone who could kind of continue to fight. Um, and that's why I feel the way I feel. I'm not going to go through it again, but I just saw some things happening and it came to fruition. So it is what it is. Right now, we just need to circle the wagons around Joe and get 45 out of there. Once we do that, then we can start doing some other things. But once Joe is in office, what we need to do is hold him accountable, hold Camilla accountable, and make sure that she stays in her lane. You know, I think Joe has some great ideas. I think Joe has evolved more than most politicians have today because he's always fought a champion fight, but he did some things, including the Anita Hill thing. And I was at National Naval Medical Center, so one of my jobs at the medical center was facilitating sexual harassment. So I have a special feeling about that, but I know, I probably done some things that if you talk to some of the women, they probably say I was sexist as well, but then I would probably say the same thing about some women who talk about all men being dogs and so forth and so on. So these are our life experiences that make us imperfect, our perfections that we wind up being judged with either rightly so or unrightly so. So with that being said, I'm gonna move on. Boom, 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 boom. Here's my apology to Kamala, whatever. Though I'm emotional, I employ logic and critical thinking first to develop a strategy when it comes to politics. Personally, don't like Kamala because her record illustrates someone who doesn't respect the struggle of Black Americans, especially some of these Black men, young Black men trying to find themselves in a world where they have no place. She made her disrespect abundantly clear, in my humble opinion, when she said time and time again that she would not author legislation that specifically focused on the issues and problems of Black people. To that, my response is simple. Every piece of civil rights legislation that made her who she is today made it able for her to go to the lengths and the heights that she's gone to was designed specifically for us. And I talk about her role as a vice president simply because it was Lyndon Baines Johnson, JFK, John F. Kennedy's vice president, who actually started to push the Civil Rights Act during the Kennedy administration. And he carried it over when he became president. Kennedy was assassinated November the 22nd, 1963. You know, actually, why I remember all of these things. I'm just a history buff and I'm a nerd, so I remember things. Once upon a time, I had a little bit of a photographic memory. But I said all of that because the Civil Rights Act wasn't passed until 1964. So Johnson should be credited with that. And as vice president, Kamala has to understand that she has a responsibility, if not just an obligation, to jump on board with a lot of these things. Make it about things that happen for blacks. Because the way the ball bounces is when black folks get something, then everybody else says, well, I want that too. So in order for them to get it, we must first get it. It's always been that way. When affirmative action was signed, it was specifically for black men because black men was working side by side with the white counterparts and they were not being compensated accordingly. And as soon as black men start getting drawn into the fold, then the black female and the white female, and it's come to represent more of the white female. And this has never really been about color. It's been about color to us because this country was built on our blood, sweat, and tears, literally on the scars of our back. But um, I have specific concerns that you don't have to worry about, even as a Black woman. And whether you realize it, whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it. The heterosexual Black man is an endangered species. And until we deal with it as such, we run the risk of losing him. Okay. We lose a heterosexual Black man, we lose us as a people, literally, literally. Because who else's seed is going to create the next the next Martin Luther King, the next Malcolm X, the next Kobe Bryant? As much as I disagree with some of the stuff, the next Michael Jordan, the next Barack Obama. And yeah, his daddy was from Africa, but I'm sure if you traced, you would find some of his ancestors right here in America, and so forth and so on. So I'm not, again, not going to be the dead horse, but you have to understand that until we take up our fight like the Jewish do, my Jewish brothers, anything that affects one Jew is a threat to all Jews. And that's what Martin was talking about when he said a threat, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Injustice anywhere to any person of color is a threat to justice for all people of color, Black, white, yellow, brown, Puerto Rican, or Haitian. So I want her to understand, I want to put that burden on her so that she feels it the way I feel it, so that she feels it the way Martin feels it, so she feels it the way some people that weren't even of color took it upon themselves to fight for something that some of us aren't willing to fight for. Well, let me just move on. You see, this stuff is near and dear my heart. This is about legacy to me. I've done a lot of things, and I still got some things to do, but I just want to author in this for the next generation. And just like my elders taught me, I think it's up to us as elders to teach the next generation. So, with that being said, moving on, I could care less that Camilla went to Howard. Shout out to the Bisons, HU. I could care less what her sorority is and whether she's Black or whatever, whatever, whatever. What I care about is how you feel about the struggle of my ancestors. You feel when I'm wrongly accused going into a court of law? Are you going to just assume because 6 feet tall, I'm 270 pounds, I look like an athlete that I must somehow be OJ? No, no, let's not do that. Let me just tell you this. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. It doesn't mean that the person don't have room to grow, but it's up for us as voters to hold her according, make her accountable, hold her responsible for the decisions that she makes. If Joe wins, or let me take that back. When Joe wins, because all of us out there are gonna make sure that he wins. When Joe wins in November, we need to make sure that we hold Joe and Kamala responsible for the decisions they make. We need to constantly, we can't just clap our hands and shout, you understand, and then disappear for 4 more years. And then 2 years in, say, well, they haven't done anything. No, it's our job to get in there while they're in there and say, this is my expectation. Here are my needs. And this is what I want you to pay attention to. So accountability and oversight are paramount, people. I'm riding with Joe because I said back in 2016 that he was the answer. And I really feel like that now. Everything has just, it's transpired the way I thought it would, even beyond my wildest imagination. Even be, I just couldn't envision some of this stuff, but I just kind of knew what was happening. Politics is a game of chess. If our strategy is to get rid of Trump, our strategy also has to be to make sure that the person taking office is going to be sensitive to our needs. That's both people. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this up, people. I did this once, I did it again, and I want to say this: make sure you get out local elections. I don't know if they're going on now. I assume that they are, but in just a few days, in less than 3 months, all of what we're talking about now is going to be an afterthought. So what we have to do is do what we have to do to make sure that we're making the best lemonade possible, given the ingredients that we have. That being said, I want to thank all of you guys, my Facebook audience and my YouTube audience. If you're on Facebook, I want to invite you to go to my YouTube channel. I'm going to post both videos on my page so that you can follow me on YouTube. As time goes on, I'm going to start moving this from Facebook to YouTube. I want to see. I did both products at the same time. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the products. And one of the things I'm going to be looking for is the best possible product moving forward, serious about this. Anything I do to the best of my ability. You're on Facebook. I want to thank you again for rocking with me. You've been with me for over a year now. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I promise you I do. Moving forward, I want to say this, same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. It's always important. Love, peace, hair grease, even with the hat on. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I got something to say, so it must be true. Good morning, folks. Y'all have a nice weekend. I'm out of here.